In this video, I want to show you how to replace the front shock on this Ford F-150. Let's get started. Let's remove the wheel. You would want to use a 21mm socket. If your lug nuts are swollen like mine, because underneath the chrome cap it rusted, you would want to use a 22. And remove the wheel. Now with the wheel off from the back side, you can see the caliper that we have to remove. There's also a vacuum hose here for the hub actuator. I'm going to want to pull that off the hub, so let's do that now. We need to get as much stuff out as possible to have room to bring the knuckle forward so we can get this axle out. If you have to, you can use a screwdriver, a pry bar, to help pry this up and off, just like that. Then with a 10mm socket, remove the retainer bolt for the bracket that holds the brake hose on. Pull this out of the knuckle and set it aside, and unclip the ABS wire from this. Let's also unbolt the ABS wire from the knuckle with an 8mm socket. If it feels like it's going to break, work it back and forth because you don't want this breaking inside the knuckle. I've already done this, but I'm going to spray it again with a bunch of rust penetrant. Hopefully that'll work its way in there and help me loosen this up a little bit easier and without breaking it. There it is. Pull this off. Follow the ABS wire up and unclip it from where it's secured onto the frame. Just like this. Follow it up even more. It's clipped right here next to the control arm. Remove it from this retainer as well. I'm going to follow the ABS sensor all the way up here on the fender liner and unplug it. There's a clip on the back side. Press it and slide it out of its connector. Okay, just pop it out. Oh, there we go. That's why it's not coming out. A lot of times these get pretty full of debris here. Now you can pull the wire down. Now have a bungee cord ready so you can tie the caliper and bracket assembly out of the way. We're taking off the whole thing as a unit. Take this 18mm bolt out, as well as this one down here. Those will take off the caliper bracket off of the knuckle directly. With one off, leave it on a few threads so that you can have the caliper supported while you take off the other one. Now take both off. Pull it off of the rotor. Remove your rotor. If yours is stuck on because of rust, mine's not because it's new. But if it is and you're reusing it, then tap between the lug studs. That should break it free off the hub, but just make sure you don't damage the studs. Now we have to get this cap off that hides the axle nut. So take a screwdriver or a pry bar, tap it in here. There we go. Now you should be able to just pry it off of here. Then take a 13mm socket and let's remove the axle nut. At this point, you want to make sure the axle pushes through, which it does, so that's perfect. Next, I want to unbolt the outer tie rod stud off of the knuckle. To do that, you can use a 21mm socket. Now take a hammer and tap the knuckle right here so the tie rod stud can break free. There we go. Remove the tie rod from the knuckle. Now let's disconnect the upper ball joint from the knuckle also so we can tilt the knuckle forward. Use a 21mm socket. Put the nut back on a few threads to hold the knuckle as you break this free. And just like we did for the tie rod, hit the knuckle right here and it should pop off. There we go. Pry the control arm down, take the nut off, pull this up, and the knuckle will come forward. Now get the knuckle off of that upper ball joint, pull it forward, and there you go. Use a 30mm socket on the nut side and a 27 on the bolt side to hold it. Break this nut free. They're very tight, just as a little disclaimer. Take that off and make sure the bolt spins. If it doesn't, it's most likely seized inside the bushing there. So spray some rust penetrant and try to twist it back and forth. Fortunately for us, this one is not seized. Take a hammer, hammer the bolt out. Take it out the other side. At this point, let's take a pry bar, pry the control arm down and the strut out. The control arm might not want to go down all the way because the sway bar is still attached, but that's okay, at least this broke free. Now to get more swing out of the lower control arm, I'm going to disconnect the top of the sway bar link here, use an 18mm socket, and we might not be able to take the nut off all the way with this, but I'm going to try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll hold this with pliers or a wrench and then use a wrench on this. At this point, the nut actually came up more than I expected. And because there's a large washer here, this allows us to put some locking pliers on without damaging the boot. Lock these on tight and finish removing the nut. This will hold the stud from spinning. There we go. If that doesn't work for you, just try to work it back and forth with rust penetrant. Eventually, it will come off. Take these off, and now we can swing this lower control arm down even more. I'm going to bring this axle back over the sway bar so it can be held here. If you need to tie it with a bungee cord, go ahead and do that. You just don't want it to swing down too far. Pry the shock up, or the strut, and the control arm down. Okay, there we go. Now the strut is free, so let's unbolt it off the top. At the top of the strut tower here, you'll see 3 15mm nuts that look like this. There's one here, and one in the back that is a little bit harder to see, but you can reach it. Just go over these lines and hoses. Take your 15mm socket. Sometimes you'll have to hammer it on here just because of rust buildup. And they are fairly tight, so make sure you have a long ratchet or a breaker bar of some sort. Try to break these free. There we go. This one, I'm going to back off a few threads, but I'm going to leave it on. I want to leave this one on for last because I want it to be accessible when the strut comes down, so I can leave this connected without it falling off, and then I'll unthread it the rest of the way when I'm ready to remove it. Move on to the second one. Take this one all the way off. And the one in the back you'll need a deep socket for, unless you want to pop these lines off. They just have a connector here, but I'm going to leave them on. Just put my socket over, break it free. Okay, this one's off, so this is the only thing holding the strut in at this point. I'll leave it on like this. Okay, once you pry it out, remove the last mounting nut. And now you can pull the strut right down and out, and there it is. Now I have my strut set up in a spring compressor. You definitely want to make sure you have the proper tools for this because this spring is under a lot of tension. Now I'm going to compress it so it can release the top and the bottom of the strut here, and then we'll take the mounting nut off from the top and separate it. This moves around now, so we can proceed to taking off the nut off the top. Typically, you'd want to use a 18mm socket. I'm going to use a 17 because this nut is severely rusted. Okay. There it is. Off of this old shock. We do have to reuse the bump stop. If you have a new one, just use the new one. We also have to take this lower spring seat off. Usually you can pry it out. It has a couple retainers. Slide it off, and there it is. We'll reuse this. On this new shock, start by putting on this lower spring seat. It should sit nice and flush here. If it's not perfect, that's okay. The pressure of the spring will seat it all the way. And let's put the bump stop on. Now get the new shock up and through. Make sure it goes through the top here, just like that. At the bottom, it should also be lined up perfectly. The spring around here should sit perfectly on the spring seat. Back at the top, let's put the mounting nut on, and then we'll tighten it up. This new nut is an 18mm socket. Let's tighten this up. Because the whole shaft of the strut is spinning, this is a locking nut, so it's putting a lot of force on the threads, which is normal. You're going to want to use an 18mm wrench, put that on the nut, and then either with locking pliers or if you have a 6mm wrench, you're going to want to hold the shaft of the shock and just tighten this down. Okay, that's snug right there. Now let's torque it. 41 foot-pounds is the torque for this. Once you get it snugged up with the wrench, it should stop spinning around, so you'll be able to torque it with a socket. Now release pressure off of the spring, and we'll get it back on the truck. Take your new strut, line it up at the top. It should slide into place. Have a mounting nut ready because it's pretty heavy, and thread this on just so it can hold it in place. If you line it up at the top and it does not line up at the bottom, which as you can see for me it does, that just means you have it backwards. So rotate it 180 degrees and then both ends should line up perfectly. Now put on the rest of the mounting nuts. We'll bottom them out, and the torque for these is 30 foot-pounds. I have a pole jack underneath the lower control arm so I can raise this up. I'm not going to be able to just lift it up by myself. So I'm going to put upwards pressure on it. As I do that, make sure that the sway bar link goes in through the sway bar. Otherwise, if it doesn't, it stays like this. You'll have a lot of trouble getting it in once the control arm is up. Also, the lower part of the strut is in the control arm, but it's not lined up yet. So as the control arm goes up, just make sure it lines up with the bolt hole. Okay. Pry this whichever way necessary to line it up. My bolt hole is very close to being lined up, so I'm going to go up a little more, get this lined up with that hole. I'm going to hold my pry bar here. I have my bolt ready, stick it through. On this side, the bolt needs to pivot inward like that. So what I'm going to do to get that lined up, I'm just going to take my socket with a breaker bar so I have some leverage and use that to basically pivot the bolt. Sway bar link is still lined up and on track to going in through the sway bar. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit more. With pressure still upwards on this control arm, I want to get this as close as possible to ride height so I can tighten this bushing without putting it in a bind when the truck is sitting on the ground on its own wheels. So put the nut on, let's snug it up, and the torque for this is actually 406 foot-pounds. But what I'm going to do, because I don't have a torque wrench that goes that high, is I'm just going to use my air gun and make it nice and tight. Hold it in place and tighten it up. There you have it. Take a pry bar and pry the sway bar down onto the sway bar link, just like that. Put the mounting nut back on, and let's tighten it up. 59 foot-pounds is the torque for this. There we go. Now with the lower control arm supported and pressure on the strut, let's torque this to 30 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench that'll fit in here, just make sure it's nice and tight by hand. It's about 1/4 of a turn after it bottoms out. Okay, all three are torqued. At this point, I want to bring the knuckle up, make sure the axle actually slides through here. As you bring the knuckle up, make sure the upper ball joint on the control arm lines up. Looks like I'll need a pry bar to pry this down enough. Have the upper ball joint nut ready. Stick the pry bar in between the spring here. Okay, once you get it close enough, put the nut on, take your 21mm socket, pry down on the ball joint, and snug this up. The torque for this is 85 foot-pounds. The knuckle will spin because the tie rod's not connected yet, but once it bottoms out, you'll be able to torque it. That's 85 right there. Plug in the vacuum hose for the hub actuator. Make sure it's bottomed out completely. Let's get the tie rod stud back in. Press it down all the way into the knuckle, put the nut on, and we'll torque this to 85 foot-pounds. Put the axle nut on. We'll torque this to 20 foot-pounds after we bottom it out. It's easy to hold the hub at such a low torque. If you can't, just put a pry bar in between. Make sure it's on the flat side so it doesn't damage the threads, and hold the hub from spinning by the pry bar. Put this cap back on. I like to put some grease around the ring here. If you want to put RTV, you can. Tap it in with a rubber mallet, make sure it's nicely seated. I have a new hub here. If you still have your old one, go ahead and clean it up so that these two ridges right here are nice and smooth. There's no buildup, no rust, no debris on them. And then we'll go ahead and coat them with anti-seize. And I will do that regardless of whether it's a new or an old hub. I also have a new rotor. If you don't have a new rotor, make sure the backside is clean like this one. Sand it down if necessary. Make sure you don't take off too much material though. And then slide it on. It's important that these two sit perfectly flat up against each other. And to secure this, I'm going to use a lug nut to clamp it on. You don't have to make this very tight. Just put it on here by hand so it can hold the rotor and prevent it from falling off. If it falls off and rust gets behind here, it'll sit crooked once it finally gets tightened down. And then you'll have some issues driving down the road, especially at higher speeds. Now let's get the caliper over the rotor, slide it on, start in the two caliper bolts, bottom these out, and then torque them. The torque for these two is 136 foot-pounds. Let's get these reconnected, these brackets here. I'll start with the brake hose, put this back on. This is the 10mm bolt that held it into the knuckle. Nice and snug, about 1/8 of a turn after it's bottomed out. Start the ABS wire in. Okay, bottom that out, make sure it's snug. Over here, clip this into the brake hose retainer. Follow the ABS wire and clip this into this bracket over here. Run it behind this brake line. There was one more retainer for it that has to clip in right over here next to the vacuum hose. And the last part is to plug it in. Make sure that clicks and secure the connector onto the fender liner right there. Let's get the wheel on. Start on all 6 of your lug nuts, bottom them out, and torque them to 150 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. There you have it. Take it for a road test. After finishing this repair, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.